Hey guys, Adam here. So my current favorite film YouTuber is a man by the name of Karsten Rundquist. He makes a series called What I Watched This Month where he, recaps all the stuff he's watched in the current month. I think it's a fantastic format and I thought perhaps I should try it out for myself. All credit goes to him for the idea and a link to his channel will be in the description. So without further ado, let's get into what I watched in May. Starting off the month, I watched Ida, directed by Pawła Pawlikowski. I already talked about this in a video, but in short, this movie is really somber as well as short and sweet, and I really loved it. After that, I watched Happiness, directed by Todd Solondz. This was certainly one of the most disgusting movies I've ever watched, just because of the whole premise and graphic detail. Most of the characters are super out there because they all have specific problems that make the viewing experience a really uncomfortable one. Certainly would not be my first choice as a first date movie. Next, I watched an animated film called Perfect Blue by the acclaimed Japanese director Satoshi Kon. This was a pretty short watch, it's only about 80 minutes long, but there was a ton of stuff going on. I assume the second viewing will be better, just because there is so much to unpack while watching this film. It sets a very creepy and dark tone throughout, which I hear is Kon's signature style. Even though I thought it was only okay, I will be checking out Paprika, which is another Kon film in the near future, as his work seems very interesting to me. Then I watched Shoplifters by another acclaimed Japanese director, Hirokazu Koreeda. I honestly kind of thought this movie was a little bit overrated. All the technical aspects of the film are pretty much perfect, but the movie in short is just really slow, and I didn't really enjoy it that much because of the overly slow nature. I like the concept of the story, but I personally didn't really like the execution of it that much. And also, this film I feel like is one of the rare instances where the music should have probably been used a bit more. I understand why it wasn't, because it was such like a slow drama, but man, the music was great when it was used, and I really wish there was more of it. After that, I watched my second Don Hertzfeldt movie, a short called Rejected, which you can find on YouTube for free. I really love the absurdist comedy and nature of this film, and it really reminded me of the ASDF movies from YouTube. The level of Hertzfeldt's animation is seriously mind-blowing to me, especially because this movie is so old for the animation level, and this is probably my favorite short film that I've ever watched. Then I watched Do the Right Thing, the most critically acclaimed film that Spike Lee has made. This is pretty much a masterpiece in my opinion. The setup to the climax and the slow build-up in that one single hot day in New York is an amazing premise in my opinion. In the current times with everything happening because of the George Floyd murder, this movie is certainly a must-watch if you can watch it soon. After reading The Hate U Give and writing a research paper on police brutality toward African Americans, as well as watching this film, I have a newfound knowledge of the horrible past of incidents going on such as the current one. It's seriously an awful thing. Next, I watched a Denis Villeneuve film for the first time, Prisoners. The way this film builds tension and makes the tension so visible with the cinematography and score is an incredible feat. It's one of the most gripping dramas for the first half of the movie that I've ever seen. Although the ending was a little bit predictable and I didn't really like a lot of the loose ends that didn't get tied up, I still really enjoyed this movie. Also, the acting is some of the best I've ever seen. That performance by Hugh Jackman is amazing. Then, over the course of a week or two, I watched Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, directed by Tom Stoppard, for my English class. I thought it was fine, but I don't really enjoy Shakespearean literature too much because it's so difficult to understand. If you're really into Shakespeare, though, I think this is definitely a must-watch. The film is really well made from a technical standpoint, and the performances are really quite good. After that, I watched Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, directed by Alfonso Gomez-Rejon. The second coming-of-age film that I've seen shot in Pittsburgh, which is kind of interesting. I still don't understand why the only good movies coming out of Pittsburgh are coming-of-age films, but who knows. I really enjoyed this, and I pretty much, cried my eyes out. I kind of even related to Earl, even though he was quite a douche throughout the majority of the movie, but I understood why he was acting like this. If you want a good cry, this is certainly highly recommended by me. Then I watched A Clockwork Orange, which is the third Stanley Kubrick film I've seen now. It was intensely violent, and there were some shots and scenes that were just iconic in my opinion, and that I'm still remembering as I'm writing this. Malcolm McDonald's performance as Alex is also incredible. Other than that, I felt like the movie overall was just pretty much good. Next, I watched The Graduate, directed by Mike Nichols. Honestly, I don't have too much to say about this. I think it's a bit overrated, but the story is executed well and the acting is good. Overall, it's fine, but not the most memorable thing I've seen, for sure. After that, I watched Schindler's List, directed by Steven Spielberg. This movie is objectively 100% a masterpiece in my eyes. The filmmaking put on display in this movie is jaw-dropping. Every technical aspect is completely nailed. The score by John Williams is a classic. The performances by Liam Neeson and Ralph Fiennes are both incredible. The cinematography is literally perfect, and the production level is like off the charts. It didn't make me cry too much, it just kind of made me sad. When the Holocaust was taught to me in school around middle school / early high school, I now feel like it was so watered down. Watching this movie really opens you up to the true horror of the Holocaust, and I feel like you pretty much have to see it at least once in your lifetime. To wrap up the month, I watched the 2016 Best Picture winner, Moonlight, directed by Barry Jenkins. It was a good coming-of-age story, and the camera work was legitimately incredible. However, I think this movie is a bit overrated. The characters aren't really that fleshed out besides the main character, and I don't know, just to me the story wasn't that fantastic. I still definitely enjoyed the movie though. Throughout the month, I've also been watching an anime that's still airing called Tower of God, which so far is really great. If you like tournament animes, this will be right up your alley. I also just finished Season 4 of Rick and Morty since it just finished airing. Season 4 was solid and contained a fair amount of good episodes. However, it was still miles behind Seasons 1 and 2 in terms of quality comedy and cohesive story that can be followed well. It was definitely a step up from Season 3 though, so that's definitely a step in the right direction for their creators. Yeah, so that's it. Let me know what you watched that was good this month in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.